For those who don't know me, Jaap Groot, I'm actually Dutch, currently running a company in Barcelona that is in antennas. So I really feel I'm in the cellar of IoT, because every device has an antenna on two sides, but we are in the hardware, and that's really hard. What I want to talk about is basically what Julian and I have seen over the past 10 years, because I was there when Laureate was founded, and actually at Semtech we were looking a bit like lore, and if they would have put an A, they would have got a lawsuit, because LoRa is very, very protected, but luckily enough it became LoRa IoT, and we've gone that journey together. So I want to take you on that journey by basically explaining. Mark, I'm not in front of the screen now, right? It's okay. What I've seen happening. In 2013, these were the days of the real big fights. Sigfox, gone by now. LoRa was there. There was no cellular IoT. That term was not invented yet, but we were all starting to talk about IoT. And it took us a few years. It took me 2 years to get out of Sigfox, and I left it. And I think today with Unibis, it's not going anywhere. But it took us a few years to go to solutions. And I see now there's a wall with solutions here. There are software solutions. There's all kinds of adjacent systems. But then we realized when we have solutions, we need interfaces, like the APIs that were spoken about earlier. And that's basically where technology took us. And then we started worrying about, oh, what does our customer want? You heard the story about the beer this morning. So value propositions, that's where it starts. If I would reverse time for myself, I would talk to a customer like that. What is your problem and how can I solve it? Forget about the technology that I need to bring in my bag or the technology that I need to be aware of that is coming in the future. In my opinion, we need to make IoT as simple as Lego. So if you have a box, think about your solution that you sell to your customer, depict it on a box, make sure all the components are inside, or you have partners that can deliver those components. And there is a manual, step 1, step 2, step 3. And as a small kid, if you follow it, whatever the complexity, because there are very complex Lego models, if you do it right, the model will look like what it said on the box itself. However, you are free to change that a little bit, right? When I think about this journey, and at the end I hope to be able to have time to look forward also for 10 years, because I want to provide you with some guidance where I think we should put our efforts. When I think about this journey, I always think about the link between IoT data and music. And just to put it in context so that everybody realizes, in 1948, that's when IBM invented the records. And about 30 billion were sold during the time that records were popular. In 1962, then we got the tapes. But the music didn't change, right? It was just the carrier that was changing. So think about this like a Sigfox, LoRa, MyIoT, or whatever, NB-IoT, whatever you want to think about. New technology is coming to play. Then in 1979, I'm from Eindhoven, so Philips invented the CD, and that basically made music a little bit, let's say, I'm not even sure if it's better. Some people will argue that records are better than CDs in terms of music quality. But anyway, the carrier changed, and then the digitalization into MP3 by Fraunhofer, who also invented MyIoT, so that's a nice coincidence, took it in 1991. Fraunhofer invented that, but it took Apple 10 years to introduce the iPod. So, there's a long gap between when technology is available and when the market starts using it truly. So back to the 10 years. Maybe this is the day that we talk about Laureate and all the others when, the thing can start scaling. However, here's where we are, in my opinion, in our IoT industry, if it exists. In 1999, Napster came to market. They didn't change anything in the music, but they disrupted the whole industry completely. And scary enough, today, there's only very few players who control that streaming area. Music is still the same, but at the end of the day, the access has completely changed. So, if we think about this in our industry, I think, and whether it's AI or whatever, we are kind of at the breaking point of what is going to happen. Because data is going to be the new money. I think it's been said before, big data and stuff, but we are really here now because we can generate all the data. If I take all the sensors that you guys have and all the software, we will have all the data. In our world, just to give it some context, today, because we do antennas, we have to integrate them in devices. We do this year about 3,000 designs. And out of those 3,000, a lot of people come to us too late. My car is broken, can you fix it? My device doesn't work, can you fix it? That's why I got in antennas in the first place, because LoRa promises all this long range, but if you have the wrong antenna in your device, it's never going to work, and that's what I saw in Semtech when we were working. I'm not going to go into technical details of DBs and how to improve it, but we know how to do it. Make sure that from the get-go, on your hardware, you know exactly what you're doing, because fixing it will cost you 10 times more during the race, or 100 times more at the end of the race. And this is back to stupid examples like toilet sensors that were transmitting every time the door opened, and then after 3 weeks the battery was empty. Of course, because there's 1,000 toilet visits on an airport and 3,000, and so you know the battery goes dead. Why would you want to know every time the door opens? You only need to know after 1,000 times, because then the cleaning needs to come. So again, there's a lot of stuff to be discussed here. I would say think about this before you start and don't run too fast, which is a typical entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur, a typical entrepreneurial thing, right? Let's go, let's get to the customer and get it done. No, think first. Few things that I think we need to be worried about. Smart meters. I have in my house, well, I have no gas, but water and electricity. 3 SIMs, 3 radio technologies, 3 everything. Stupid. Let's make them connected. 1 hub, I don't care which one it is, and let's just connect them all locally through a mesh or a local interconnection, and then 1 meter connects to the grid. Can be done very easily, but the industry is protective and thinks in silos, so that's why it's not happening. Telematics. I don't know if any of you recognize, these mushrooms were like this, 20 watts, so you had to be careful, because you would not be fertile after if it was transmitting too close to your body. But this was in '98. Qualcomm, they managed to develop a satellite system. And today, caramba, we think that NTN is the whole new game. NTN, to me, is just the evolution of technology on the satellite level to make it available to more use cases. But it has been there for a long, long time. And we had, I don't remember, 800,000 or so in Europe connected. Or global, I don't remember the exact number anymore. But it evolved through tracking devices. This morning, there was this beer use case, and at the end, the guys in the pubs didn't like it because they couldn't sell beer, you know, off the POS system, so they couldn't create their own money stream. My biggest use case here was 80,000 trackers that we sold around 2001, 2002 to the private investigation industry. And the only thing that they wanted to do is to monitor the movement of husband and wives for divorce cases, prenuptials. Guess which territory? It's not Europe. And what they at the end did is they monitored, let's say, 10 cars at the same time in mag mount, right? You put it under the car, and they didn't have to put any people there, but they could bill the customer. I've been monitoring your husband. I ended up in the same court that you were seeing this morning. I had to tell the judge if I was sure that the guy was at Ibiza doing something that he should not be doing because he was married. And I said, no, I don't know where the guy was. I know my device was on Ibiza. And if that was in his suitcase was in Ibiza. And if the guy has the suitcase in his hand, he was there. But I don't know. I can just tell you that the device was there. Anyway, this is a use case that is evolving into the smart labels. I've put an example here. And I think Lilian Paradise is here from Miromiko, who makes this stuff. Smart labels, and there's photovoltaic stuff outside. Very, very good, because power is an issue. And I think we will go to a world where basically everything will be connected. This is nice for pellets and so small stuff. Last but not least, just because we're in Spain and our antennas are inside, road safety. This is a V16 light. If you go to the Leroy Merlin or any shop, you can buy one. It basically helps. And by the way, Vodafone SIMs are in there. I was surprised they didn't mention it. But this helps you for road safety, because the triangle that you have in your car basically creates about 2,000 people in Europe that die after they get out of the car. And that's kind of a risk on the highway. So what Spain is trying to do as the first country in Europe, they give you a light, it's connected, so you can put it on your car, and I've seen them. Maybe when you drive around the highway, you will see them also. Specifically when it's a bit more dark, it's very useful. And the DGT, so the roadside assistance, gets the alert right away, so they can block off, put the signalization up to basically save lives. Very good use case. 10 million in use, another 20 million to come before Christmas because it's legislative. It's driven by law, which is always nice. I see also the convergence of what I call IoT and wireless. So maybe it's also the industrial side and maybe the consumer side. So wireless headsets were never considered IoT, at least not when I joined. Same like the Qualcomm satellite thing, but today we call it IoT, because if this is connected to with some AI inside and a nice microphone, people can do stuff, but it has been there all the time. It's now moving into personal health. This is an example of glucose monitoring devices, and they are connected, mainly to the phone, and then moving to smart glasses. Now let me share you what discussion I have with my kids, which are that generation that has to use the AI, because before their career is over, mine is over before AI is fully deployed, so I don't care. They do. My son is a professional handball player, and he cares about his body. So mom makes sure that she feeds the body with the right ingredients so he can play great matches and has good muscles. And he is very annoyed that his smart glasses that Mark Zuckerberg has announced are not able to see what he eats, to take him to the market, to buy the groceries, or to the supermarket, to buy the food that he needs for his body. Whilst he has an Apple Watch that monitors exactly what he's doing, and he has a CGM type of device to monitor what is happening to his body. All that stuff exists, but we don't combine it. And that's our fault. We are the industry. He blames me, right? I'm the industry to him and says, why don't you bring that all together? I'm talking about security, safety. So if we want to be proud about ourselves, I think we need to look at 4 areas. Food. It's crazy that 20% of the water, there was a panel before with Francisco, 20% of the water that those guys are working on doesn't reach your house before, well, it's leaking before it gets to your house. Stupid. We put all the money inside to clean it, and maybe even more stupid, then we use that water that isn't reaching your house to waste the toilet. Wow. It's only for drinking water, right, that you need out of the tap. The rest, maybe we need to find another way to solve that, and maybe IoT has an answer. Food is even worse. Agriculture is a hot market now, and you optimize all kind of stuff in the supply chain or even before at the farm. But did you know that in Spain, 32% of the food is thrown away, is wasted? I don't see any solution for that yet. So let's see what we can do in that area. Electricity, where AI is the root cause, probably, with the qubits and all that stuff that we saw this morning from IBM, but also should be part of the solution, because there's not enough power. And maybe we end up with a lot of nuclear power next to each data center. I don't know. I don't think we can save our way or technologize our way out of the shortness of power. Health, that's a very good area. One of the reasons why people buy stuff is because of fear and fun. Well, fun is not what is happening here, this is fear. However, we have to be careful, because if we improve health too much, and all of a sudden everybody in this room goes to 100, I'm going to end up in a lot of traffic jams. I live in France. We already have strikes for retirement because people don't get the money anymore, and the government falls over it now 5 times in 2 years. But health is an area where we can make a material impact. Maybe not in extending the life, but making the life that we have of a high quality. So that's an area where I would focus, and in the meantime, and as we learned, security becomes a pragmatic issue. Because in that use case of my son, of course, I don't want the supermarket to understand what's going on with me, and certainly not my doctor. Because before I know it, I go to the toilet in the morning and it says, oh, your insurance premium went up because you had 2 whiskeys last night. You know, that we can't have. But I want to look at the positive solutions. So, what do we need to do? This comes from the GSMA 7 years ago, a paper that was sent to me after a previous speech. They were talking about data hubs, and they thought that commercial organizations should own this. I don't think that the Apples of the world or the Amazons of the world or the music providers that we have currently should own all that data and monetize it. That makes no sense. It's my data. It's your data. You want to benefit from your own data, whether it's in your company or as a private person. So we need to find a way through regulation and governments, maybe industry bodies, to make that data safely accessible, and maybe in a way that we are also willing to pay for it, not because we didn't opt out, because that's the way it works today in TikTok and I don't know what, but because we opted in to use our own data and give some people that we are trusting the access to it to help us better our lives or better our companies. With that, I'm at the end of my speech. I didn't see the finger one yet, so if there's any question, let me know.